Social justice is one of the fundamentals of the United Church of Canada. We are the conscience of the nation. Mission and Services does incredible work around the world to improve the lives of those less fortunate than us privileged people. In 2017, I had a mild heart attack. While in hospital, my daughter brought me a book to read called The New Age of Discovery. The book suggested that we are on a new renaissance. The one thing that hit me very hard was the statistic that 8 million children will die of poverty each year. The authors suggested to help solve this problem was to pay single mothers to encourage their children get a decent education. I realized I could not save 8 million children, but I could do my share and save a few. That led me to create and register the charity Madres de Nicaragua. I don't know if Al's putting up my pictures. I chose Nicaragua because it was the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. The major issue is that 33% of all families in Nicaragua are run by single mothers. In December 2018, I made contact with a non-government aid organization, NGO, in Ciuna, which is in the very center of rural Nicaragua. There you can see it. The statistics indicated that rural Nicaragua was the poorest, with people trying to live on $1 or $2 a day. The NGO is Bridges to Community, a combined Canadian and American NGO building homes for poor people. And at that time, we're building a hospital in the village of Oramagora, about a 30-minute drive over very rough roads from Ciuna. They agreed to help me and myself and Don McDonald, the treasurer of Madres de Nicaragua, who had lived in Nicaragua for 20 years, went to Oramagora with Margarito Eduardo Peralta from Bridges to Community, and we met with the nuns in the village. The sisters are of the Order of Missionary Sisters in Christ, a Spanish order, and they agreed to help. We asked them to select the poorest single mothers that we could help. There were lots to choose from. We met Myra, the mother of Maritza, who lived in a lean-to with 3 other families. From there, we arranged to open bank accounts for each of the mothers we support and had each of the mothers sign an agreement to keep their children in school in order to continue receiving aid from Madres de Nicaragua. Since then, we now support 4 single mothers and 6 children. Myself, Carmen, and Donald went again to Oramagora in January 2020, just before the beginning of the pandemic. At that time, we met with all the mothers and the children. They prepared a typical Nicaraguan meal, and entertainment was provided by one of the children. We asked if they would be interested in learning how to make chocolate bars to improve their opportunity to make a living wage. We also discussed whether they would be interested in learning to make aircrete dome structures. These structures are made from blocks made of cement and soap bubbles. The structures are very strong and are fireproof, waterproof, rot-proof, hurricane-proof, vermin-proof, and require no special skills and are very inexpensive to build. The mothers and the nuns thought the project was interesting and were excited for the opportunity. The nuns immediately contacted the bishop and obtained permission to build the dome structure on their property. We applied to the Canadian Consulate in Costa Rica under a program called Canadian Fund for Local Initiatives. They thought the project for the aircrete dome houses was worthwhile, but the pandemic had started and our project was not accepted. We had asked for about $35,000 to teach 18 women and had been given a building site on the Missionary Sisters of Christ facility in Oramagora, so we instead pursued the chocolate making project, as Oramagora has a cacao bean drying facility. It took me a year of trying to learn how to make good chocolate, and this year we arranged to hold the workshop. The project did not start off well with the cancellation of a flight because of a poor timing of a COVID test. After arriving in Managua with 2 large suitcases, with the chocolate melanger and a dehumidifier, Customs in Nicaragua demanded $250 duty for duty on the melanger. Margarito Eduardo Peralta met me at the airport and we drove 6 hours to Ciuna. The next day we made 2 trips to Oramagora after buying much needed supplies and a freezer. Margarito took care of me like I was one of his children. He set up a bed for me in the dormitory on the nuns' property where we held the workshop and made sure the futons were sterilized and that I had a mosquito netting to assure I was secure and protected at all times. We had helped Margarito on a couple of occasions after Trump had killed support in Nicaragua and bridges of community had to close and Margarito lost his job. He has a son that has a lesion on his brain and needs 24-hour care. We helped him take care of his son, take his son to Managua to get special treatment. I think this is a typical house in Oramagora. I started the workshop with the 4 single mother Madres de Nicaragua supports, plus 5 other ladies from a nearby cacao bean cooperative. This cooperative supports supplied the cacao beans free of charge in exchange for teaching their 5 employees. I was very worried as the temperature was 88 degrees Fahrenheit and the humidity was 77%. For chocolate making, the humidity should be less than 50%. I started the dehumidifier and had to empty it every 2 hours and finally got the humidity down to 54%. To accomplish this, I had to tape shut all the holes in the building and around the windows. The ladies worked hard, and the first batch of chocolate came out perfectly. There are 2 different tempering methods to make good chocolate. The second batch, 2 days later, used the seeding method, where you introduce some tempered chocolate from the first batch. Unfortunately, the temperature in the room was so hot, we could not get the temperature down to the right level, and that batch failed. The ladies retempered it, and the second time around it worked. The ladies thought it was the best chocolate they had ever tasted. So did a lot of dignitaries from the different cooperatives that came while we were doing the workshop. There was even a representative from Italy who was doing research there. They all thought the chocolate was very, very good. The room we used was the dormitory for the sisters who run the nunnery. The ladies wanted to make a 3rd batch on their own, and it came out perfect also. Most of the ladies had cell phones and wanted pictures of everything. I have never been photographed as much in my life, and I felt like a rock star. I asked the ladies if they were still interested in learning how to build aircrete dome houses, and they were very excited about the possibility. They believed the dome house on the sister site would be ideal for making the chocolate, since the humidity and temperature could be controlled a lot easier than where we did the workshop. Since I have come home, the ladies have already made chocolate and even have sold lots with a new label. And they are now even arranging, since we had set up a small credit system for them where they put money aside. So now we're going to contribute some more money to them, and they're going to buy another melanger because they can't keep up with the demand. So that's very encouraging. The ladies were very appreciative of all the support that we have received, as they want desperately to ensure their children can get a good education and go on to a better life. We've reviewed the Aircrete Dome House project with them again and reduced it to a more manageable size, and first estimates look like it can be done for as little as $8,000 to $9,000. We have received the application from the Canadian Consulate in Costa Rica for the Canadian Fund for Local Initiatives and have submitted an application. Every child matters, and while I was there, Margarita introduced me to Rieto Manoz, a 10-year-old boy who was born with only one hand. The boy wanted to play baseball and asked if I could help. Since then, I have learned there is a facility in Managua that can provide a prosthesis hand. We are trying to coordinate that for him. When it became time for me to retire, I was very much concerned that what I would do in retirement. I am so thankful for the opportunity to work with these families, as it has given me a real life purpose. I look forward to the opportunity to go to Orimagora next January and start the dome structure. And here is the project I have made with the help of Gary on the dome house I am building in East Souk. Thank you for the time. I hope I have not bored you too much. Shalom.
Love to see you.